All right, so Trey Flowers, former Cincinnati Bengals cornerback, it has here as a strong safety, went ahead and got signed by the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this is not really too big of a deal for the Bengals, especially after drafting DJ Turner in the second round. You know, you kind of have your first string guy, which is Cheeto, second string Cam Taylor-Britt, third string Mike Hilton, fourth string DJ Turner, and then obviously whoever they end up picking up outside of that. Right now they have Sidney Jones on a 1-year league minimum deal for the fifth string cornerback spot. But again, you never know what they're going to do before the season starts, right? They could pick up anybody. But the idea was maybe they would bring back Trey Flowers, as, you know, really what he was really good with Cincinnati at was covering tight ends. You know, you could bring him back, kind of have him in a role, exclusive rotational role that literally just puts him in that focal point. Well, it looks like that is not the case anymore, as again, like I said, he was signed by the Atlanta Falcons, and I think the Atlanta got a really good option here with him. I think he's an absolute gem player. Played 1 year for, a year and a half for Cincinnati, where he went ahead and played 11 games, started one. Didn't really do much his first year. Second year, though, when he actually played a full year with Cincinnati, 15 total games, he had 1 interception. He had 3 pass deflections. So overall, again, like I said, a pretty solid asset to the Bengals. But again, you know, we have better players in there. Cheeto's coming back. Obviously, Trey Flowers did help with that. Obviously, he also was injured himself. But you did have Cheeto now, who is back. You also have Mike Hilton. You also have Cam Taylor-Britt, who took another step forward. And then you just go on and on about how good the secondary is. You know, Trey Flowers, it's kind of funny how we look back at the beginning of, you know, this offseason and we think, oh my gosh, we got to get back Trey Flowers, right? Eli Apple, okay, put him out to the Wolves. It is what it is, you know, we'll move on. But for Trey Flowers, it was really like, okay, well, they're going to be able to bring him back. This is a guy we talked about the last couple months and how, you know, he would be an important asset to bring back. But simply not anymore. And I think that really goes to how amazing Duke Tobin and Zach Taylor really, did during this draft and free agency as a whole, but definitely during the draft, where you're looking at it now and you're like, okay, well, our 4th-string corner is probably the equivalent of a 2nd-string corner on most teams. Like, that's how good DJ Turner honestly is. And then you got to keep in mind, he's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. Like, right now, he's at his lowest point being drafted. He's only going to skyrocket up even farther and farther up, and then he's eventually going to become even more of a superstar. So, that alone is amazing. Then, number 2, what you got to look at now is, again, you know, you got Sidney Jones as a 5th corner, rotational corner, and again, second, having as much depth as possible, especially at the corner and secondary position, is always important. Because right now we do have Nick Scott at free safety. Then you got Jordan Battle backing him up, and then you have Dax Hill, and then you have DJ, right? So you kind of do want to get another player in there, maybe as a rotational piece, if anything. We talked about Isaiah Simmons in a previous video, but maybe you get another rotational piece in there just to have some extra depth, just in case. You know, you never know what's going to happen in the season, knock on wood, but you never know what injuries will happen, right? So it's always nice to have a little bit of extra rotational pieces. You're not going out there and trying to sign somebody like, you know, I don't know, you're not trying to go sign a big name player or a crazy name player. You're just trying to sign a decent player, you know, a guy who can learn the defense, get the defense down, and be a nice rotational piece in this defense. And there are still, again, like I said, there are still some players in free agency, and we're seeing this even more and more. I don't think they're really going to target too many people in free agency, I'll be honest with you, especially how they're looking right now. But with the second wave of free agency after June 1st, there might be a guy that gets cut who maybe he's a younger guy who, you know, just since he's like, hey, listen, that guy, we think we can mold him into a better player. And we don't think he got a fair shot where he was, or he just wasn't in the correct system or the correct scheme. And Lou just goes, give me him now. And brings him in Cincinnati and makes him an absolute superstar. So it's very possible, again, like I said, on this list, this is what also is crazy about free agency, is that I'm putting a list here of free agents And it's very possible since he signs 0 players on this list, but they signed someone after June 1st cuts in the second wave of free agency. The 5th corner might not be Sidney Jones. It might be somebody who's not even on the roster at this moment in time. It's very possible. So, again, that's why it's always exciting, to kind of go through this offseason process, because this is a process where, we're talking about so many names, so many players, and their potentials and stuff like that, but you never know what's going to happen before the season starts. There's 53 men who are going to make this roster. There is 75 players on the roster at the moment in time. And it's only going to go up from here. I think it can go up to, I believe, 80 players on the roster, if I am not incorrect. I believe it's 80-man roster, and then goes down. I think COVID year actually bumped up the amount of roster spots you can have in case someone got sick or whatever the case. Someone didn't want to play. You had extra roster spots for that reason. But again, like I said, just very exciting to see how this ends up turning out. And again, for Atlanta, you got yourself a really good player. And I really think, I'm going to root for him in Atlanta. I think that he has a lot left to give. He is really not that old at all. I mean, he's only 28 years old. Definitely kind of up there at age for cornerback. But he still has a lot to give for any defense, he's put into. And I'm not sure what the contract is. My guess is it's going to be a pretty okay contract. Nothing special, though, because he was on free agency for as long as he was. But again, like I said, shout out to Atlanta Falcons for getting an absolute gem. And you know what? We're just going to see how these other guys on the Bengals go ahead and develop next season, and how the mad scientist goes to work. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.